My new manager hated the fact that I had a paid 30-minute lunch break written into my union contract. She demanded I clock out for 30 minutes, citing a new interpretation of the rules. She thought she was saving the company 30 minutes of labor a day. What she actually did was set the stage for 2 weeks of pure, uninterrupted chaos that cost them thousands. Let me paint a picture of Brenda, my new regional manager. She was the kind of person who saw every employee as an expense to be minimized, not an asset to be utilized. When she took over my department, a small, highly specialized team crucial for maintaining the company's biggest clients, she immediately started hunting for waste. My job involved complex, multi-step problem solving. It's mentally taxing. Because of the sheer intensity and the long hours we often worked, my union had negotiated a mandatory, paid 30-minute lunch break. It was in my contract, specifically designated as a rest period that did not require clocking out, essential for maintaining high efficiency. We would step away, eat at our desks, but stay on the clock and on call for emergencies, though emergencies were rare. Brenda saw paid and lunch in the same sentence and instantly saw red. "This is unacceptable," she announced during her first team meeting. "A break of that length must be off the clock. Company policy clearly states that breaks over 20 minutes are unpaid. You will now clock out for exactly 30 minutes every day, effective immediately." I tried to reason with her. "Brenda, the union agreement overrides that. This specific paid rest period is in my employment contract." She gave me a smug, dismissive smile. "I've spoken to HR, and they agree with my interpretation of the policy. If you take a full 30 minutes to eat, you must clock out. This is a direct order. If you don't comply, it's considered wage theft." Oh, Brenda, you just gave me a direct order to maliciously comply. The next day, I started my experiment. My workday was usually structured around completing tasks that took about an hour and a half each. I would typically finish one task, start the next one, and around the 1 p.m. mark, I'd pause, grab my sandwich, and eat while letting the complex process I had just initiated finish running in the background. If a client called, I could quickly hit pause and address the issue, saving everyone time. Now, the moment the clock hit 1 p.m., I dutifully walked over to the time clock, swiped my badge, and clocked out. Since I was officially off the clock and Brenda had stressed that I must adhere to the 30-minute rule, I was no longer an employee. I was a civilian, enjoying my legal half-hour of freedom. I left my computer running with the unfinished critical process still operating. I unplugged my headset and took my lunch outside to the picnic table, where I could enjoy the sunlight and a nice podcast. I was completely unreachable. If the building caught fire, I wouldn't have been able to help, and that was Brenda's rule. About 15 minutes into my new, glorious, unpaid break, the first major client call came in. My colleague, who was still on the clock, panicked. This client's issue required specific access codes and proprietary knowledge that only I possessed. He rushed out to the picnic table. "Hey man, Mr. Jones is on the line. He's furious. His system just locked up. You need to come back." I took a deliberate bite of my apple. I wish I could help, but I'm off the clock. Brenda's rules, remember? If I step inside before 1:30 p.m., she'll accuse me of wage theft. He looked horrified. "But this is the biggest account. You're letting their system stay locked for another 15 minutes? The contract fine is huge." I simply pointed to the time clock inside and shrugged. Clocking back in would be a violation of Brenda's direct order. I'd hate to get fired over an apple. My colleague had to tell the major client that the only person capable of fixing their emergency was currently enjoying a mandatory unpaid break and would be available in 15 minutes. The client was predictably ballistic. For the next 2 weeks, this became my routine. The instant I clocked out, my brain turned off. I ignored colleagues, ignored the phone, and enjoyed the most relaxing, fully disconnected lunch breaks of my career. The problem for Brenda was that in this specialized department, everyone was the single point of failure for some major client. When I went off the clock, 4 other systems relying on my ongoing processes would be locked up, waiting for my return. The average wait time for the most critical clients became 30 minutes every single day. The cost of these 30-minute delays was astronomical. The contracts included severe financial penalties for downtime exceeding a 10-minute threshold. The company lost an estimated $15,000 in penalties over those 2 weeks, all because of an unpaid $8.50 lunch break. Finally, the CEO, not Brenda, called an emergency meeting. He didn't even bother to look at Brenda. He looked straight at me. "What is going on with the mandatory 30-minute daily service outages?" he demanded. I smiled sweetly. "Sir, I'm just following the new regional manager's direct order to take an unpaid, fully disconnected 30-minute lunch break to prevent wage theft. If I interact with company business, I must be paid. And Brenda says I cannot be paid during lunch. I'm just maliciously complying with the new interpretation of policy." The CEO looked at the union representative, who was also present, and the rep just gave a slow, deliberate nod. The CEO turned back to Brenda, his face going pale. The next day, there was a company-wide memo. All specialized employees covered by the union contract 3.05B are required to take a paid 30-minute on-call rest period. Clocking out during this period is strictly prohibited. Brenda was quietly transferred to a low-impact internal role 2 weeks later. I went back to my paid on-call lunch break, having single-handedly forced the reversal of a company policy that was written in my contract all along. And the best part, I didn't get a single reprimand. I was just following a direct order. The best kind of revenge is the kind that pays the bills.